Yes, thank you. And first of all, welcome all of you. It's nice to see you here, and I'm very glad to show some of the work that our students have done in the CitySets workshops. But before that, I will tell some of the visual ethnography and visual culture studies and projects in urban environment where I have been participating. And out of these came also the discussions with Mika, and we realized that we both are interested about urban environment and cities. Mika from the movie, from the cinema and narrative point, and for me the design and ethnography. Ethnography is certainly a science method to observe human behavior and culture, but as we apply it for art and design, because for artists and designers it's also very important to observe and make sketches. Nowadays cameras are our sketch pads, but in artistic work the observation is probably coming more from the perception, what we see, and it also allows more interpretation, but still in the point of collecting the observations, the same kind of rigor is good for artists as well, and also the analyzing of the material. And this was something that we introduced in our workshops. My background studying graphic design in the 1970s, then social science was the science, and influenced also the educational methods that we had in the school. These pictures we made a documenting the vendors' life or work in the Helsinki marketplace, and did early in the morning, went to interview and photograph and write down comments and publish it then in a printed form, just one copy, yes, that time. But I was very lucky because I got a summer job in Helsinki City Museum, and that time they made urban ethnology research in Helsinki, and in 2 summers I worked on that. And this experience influenced very much for my work when I then 30 years later started making my dissertation, which was about visual rhetoric in advertisement, but I collected the research material by using visual ethnography methods, by photographing. Sorry, I have to get some. And I got interested about the urbanization and how rapid it has been in last 30 years all over the world. I mean, now of the 7 billion people living in the world, over half of them are living in cities. And what makes really the city? Are they all the same, or what is the difference in the cities, and how people navigate in cities? And these discussions then also led to the CitySets workshop, where the students are observing and collecting material about the cityscape, design, people, and events. And we have developed this kind of CitySets media player, which then allows arranging and showing the material. But really from Helsinki City Museum, it was very interesting to hear about these private archives from Michelle, because I was looking for this official archive. Helsinki City Museum has a very big collection of pictures, photographs of Helsinki, and in 1970s the social science also influenced the ethnology studies or research, and they made a very big research in 4 places in Helsinki. And the methods used were interviews, but also then observations with a camera and drawing. And in the teams we worked always, there was a student from Helsinki. It was already multidisciplinary work because in the research group we had students from the Helsinki University and then from graphic design here. And my task was to while during the interviews, to draw the floor plans and observe the type of materials used, furniture used, decorations, and so on. One of the places was Museokatu in Töölö, and its architecture is still as it appears here. And then the second place was Pasila, which is now ripped off and rebuilt. It looked the place like this, Länsi-Pasila, like this in 70s. And this part of the city was built in 1870 when people moved to Helsinki, and without any permission they just built their houses, and 100 years later they were ripped off. And just before that we made the documentation there. In this Helsinki City Museum research, we collected material in Museokatu. There was 120 private apartments, homes, and then 120 shops and offices. And then these black and white pictures are taken by Kari Hakli all. For me as a student, it was very, I learned much about observations and also how a city is designed, not only architecture, but the shops and how people design their homes, and what are the important elements that they put on the walls, and how they decorate their homes. And at that time, the photography was all black and white, so I also had to document or write down the color schemes and pictures on the wall and small decorations. And then really, especially this Pasila, it was like a village in the middle of the city, and ripped down then in 70s, soon after this collection. And this material has been later, or it's now available for researchers to use. This is actually the 2 pictures down now, how it looks at the moment. But from this experience, when I started making my doctoral thesis, I collected the material in 4 places in Helsinki. I selected the 20 advertising stands, which I once a month during 1 year I photographed them. I called these places street galleries because city has actually been the place where poster arts and advertisement came, and I like to show that I wanted to see that what kind of poster art or advertisements we see today. 2 of those places were like gates or doors coming to the Helsinki, and 2 places were for culture and free time activities, where people come to opera or museums, and to what do they see then on the streets. I was also amazed at how much the nature and the time of the year influences the cityscape, how we see it. It's and especially in Helsinki, there was hardly any snow that year, but but still the lighting changed very much during the year, of course. And then interesting was also how the street furniture has changed, and the question about that how much there is local and how much there is global communication. I mean, some of the advertising campaigns that I saw, like on the right-hand side, it was at the same time launched all over the world. I saw the same posters in Berlin, and these companies nowadays, they have like Clear Channel. I think they have 30 cities in the world where they operate. So the actual, my thesis was about the visual rhetoric, and as an outcome there, I found or developed a kind of taxonomy of visual rhetoric ways, how pictures and images are used for persuasion. But I'm not going to this. I used semiotic methodology there. But beside that, I got very interested about the discussion that was going on about the use of public place. Who really has the right to advertise and inform in public places? And what are the decisions? Where are they based? Are they aesthetical, ethical, or economical reasons? Because that time there came these very huge advertising possibilities, the whole houses wrapped in canvas, like here, and when the inkjet technology developed. And also the first video screens came to Helsinki. And there was much discussions about this, because at the same time, like here some examples of stickers, illegally posted stickers, which some youngsters got arrested by police, and they got fined because of that they had pasted some stickers in Helsinki. What kind of stickers they really was, or what kind of pictures, that was not discussed at all. But later on they arranged an exhibition anonymously in one gallery in Helsinki, and that's how the pictures looked like. So really the question is that do we talk about aesthetics or economics when we decide that what is presented or allowed to present in the town? Many, like Kiasma and many art museums, they have using the building outside walls to advertise the exhibitions, because, as Kiasma said here, that this using the building for a stand for the exhibition, it was cheaper for the half a year. It was cheaper than 1 week poster campaign in the streets. The third question was about the ethical. Since 2001, we have had the Council of Ethics in Advertising, and anybody can ask them to give statement whether certain advertisements are ethically accepted. These all what are here have been people have complained or asked about, but they have been released, or they don't see that there is anything ethically questionable. But instead of, then again, this advertising campaign for beer, which is said in Finnish that remember to drink one more, that was during a very hot summer in Helsinki. So this was banned by the Ministry of Health, because they said that it calls for people to drink more for alcoholic consumption. But then again, at the same time, there was many alcoholic brands advertised in Helsinki which were not banned, because they were only pictures. So I mean, with the pictures one can tell things that we don't which is not allowed to say in words. These posters were taken off in one day by Clear Channel because somebody had claimed that these are cruel and can shock children. And yeah, all these questions were going on. This is from 1921 from Helsinki railway station, and please look at on the left-hand side up, it's a paint advertisement which tells that, it can change black to white. And I would like to know whether this was discussed at that time, whether it was ethically acceptable or how it is, but yeah. When talking about these topics, very often it's said about the cleanliness, that we like that Helsinki looks clean and so on. And certainly it is true that now when the government or the city has taken a little more, not so strict attitude anymore and not collecting everything out, some of the places doesn't look very pleasant when there is a lot of posters glued, but on the other hand, it's not a question about the question is more that the city could also appoint a place where people could advertise some cultural events or exhibitions and so on, and there is no place like that in Helsinki. They gave places for graffiti, but that's not all. I think it's also information that how could small shops inform about their or cultural events. There are possibilities like these pictures from Frankfurt and Berlin. All in all, I got very much interested about this urbanization and visual culture in cities, and when traveling, I've been looking at what is the special in that place. These pictures are from Valparaiso, from Chile, and they have got a UNESCO World Heritage for their city part. And talking with, there's a lot of art, also graffitis. Sometimes it's very difficult to know that. Is there anything in between these two categories, or is it even necessary to talk about that? The people in Valparaiso, they say that the only rule there is that you shouldn't paint your house with the same color as your neighbor, and that makes it original. Another place which I was very fascinated is Hong Kong, which has been growing so fast, and there I think with the modern architecture, they also have found a way how to combine it still in the balance with the culture and the nature. And in my opinion, it's a fascinating city. And I think there are many other cities as well. But also what interests me is that how people manage to navigate in a city, and what do you really see when you walk on the street, when you have to look for the traffic and signs and so on. It's not really the architecture, but it is something else that we are looking for. This is from Dantokpa marketplace in Cotonou, Benin, which is said to be the biggest open-air marketplace in the world. I don't know if that is so, but the origin, I thought that the people and their culture and the way of using colors, it also influences the city. Of course, the climate also, and there I did. For 3 months, I collected or photographed signs, most of them hand-drawn signs. The two on the right-hand side are from the local hospital, and these are information from little shops and and cafeterias. And I also then interviewed some of the artists making this work here, and asked. They haven't got any schooling because there is no art schools in Togo or Benin, but they are teaching like all these. They have also 2-3 students working and learning the profession with them. There was also one lady, young girl, having her workshop, and she also had some assistants. So out of all, this is as a background for our CitySets workshop. And there, in this CitySets, we think about, CitySets is like a metaphor that refers cities as stages where people, passers-by, are seen as actors, and architecture builds the stage, but then all this changing design and advertisements and pictures, they are like sets, but also the lighting and the time of the year. And from this point of view, we asked then in the workshops, which are multidisciplinary, students working in pairs, they are exploring a certain city area, and they shouldn't have any shooting plan ready, but perception, go to a place and collect what they see, and then store the material on the CitySets media player, and there they find the synthesis and make a story out of the material. Shooting may be more, but on the 5th day they present their work on the media player. So this media player, CitySets media player, is one, first of all, to collect the material and store it there, but it's also very good for this kind of participatory, or I could say peer production, working together, seeing the material and selecting, arranging, and then to present it in a multilinear way. But it also, as it is online, it also allows other people to play with the material afterwards and load something new. So it's a very participatory method. And now I show you here. This is from our first workshop in November. No? Sound. Why don't I get the sound? Okay, sorry. Okay, then I talk about this. This is Satoko Hinomitsu and Huan Lee, and their story here is making the city. And really that what makes the city, it is a human-made construction, and the construction is going on continuously. City is never ready. But then also people who come to the city to do their business, walk around, they are also making it alive. So there is from the up left hand and then down on the right hand is making the city, and these are video clips. And then they collected also video, but also still pictures about the design in cities. And there is those purposely with intention placed advertisements and signs here on the left-hand side below. But then also they realized that how much design does the nature make, and things that we are like, which are unintentionally placed object in the city. And then we had François François Pence was lecturing then, and he talked about the layers, narrative layers, and in the essay, Satoko and Juan, they talk about this narrative layers, that how they realize that how you can find the stories of the narratives just observing the city and collecting material. And all in all, I think all of the students found that this was a good way to go without a ready plan, go and see and let your perception to show, to collect, and then analyze this material, and then building the narrative within 1 week. The names here are from the first ones from the last year, no, it was this year workshop in Paris. And I will go now to the beginning and show this then. Yeah, now comes the... So in this year's workshop, we had the theme was a metro station, and we had one workshop first here in Helsinki and the second one in Paris. And I mean, actually, that is what I had to say. I don't know how much I have time left. We can look at this. Yeah, this goes. We can look at this, but So this first one is from metro station from the Itäkeskus, no it's Kalasatama, Eastern Finland, Eastern Helsinki, Kalasatama to Itäkeskus, and they observed there is the way on the traveling in the center, but then also they had this dog who is like watching the point of view of the dog here. And then we come to Paris. And these students, they were fascinated about the shadows in the metro station and made their narrative about them.
So Marja wanted to leave the video to go around during questions and answers, and after this we have a little break. But so while we look at works from this university and the Paris University students, Design University students' work, we can take questions to Marja. Yeah, let's take. It's actually from there. So, yeah. So, any questions?
Thank you very much, Marja, for a really exciting and very clear presentation. I was wondering, you talked about your own use of a semiotic approach in trying to understand how the public use of images works. Did you talk about that at all with the students when you were working with this group, or did you start from a different perspective?
Thank you. You mean in the Citysets workshop? Yes, we had, this was in the tutorial. I also showed this this part, but in that workshop I didn't go very deeply in the semiotics because the method it's in another, we have method in the research methodology we call then the semiotics more, but in this not so thoroughly in the Citysets workshop. That it was more about the yes.
Thank you for your presentation. It's very interesting and inspiring to see, to document cities and its life, and also the work that you do with the students. I'm questioning, looking at this, all these kind of inspirations of what a city can show and how you see different viewpoints. Do you have also in your research work or with the students or the work you're carrying out, do you, after the observation and the documentation that you have, which is very creative and inspiring, do you have also sort of work sections or parts that you give sort of visions of futuristical way of putting together things, seeing what, because I can see here history, I can see here present, and I can see a daily life in a city. Do you also question your students or yourself, how can this be developed in a further vision, or to carry out some visions on that?
In these Citysets workshops, which is really just 1 week and it's very much on hand-on. So on Monday we have the tutorials and then they write an essay about it, that how more about the about the process and what they found interesting and how would they continue. And I think in those essays, reading them, many of them say that they will use this methodology also maybe in the thesis and so on. But this is true that 1 week is very short time and this could be developed further.
But I think that as a second tutor in these workshops, I think it's interesting that even though we don't specifically ask them to analyze in the essays, that, well, what is the future of the cities? I think that everybody who does this investigation through the lens of a camera, that almost all the essays actually lead to an important observation in the city. I'm now remembering, for example, the urban planners and the architect group, who after they went through with the camera to the group from the Aalto University Technology Department, back then, now architecture is located in this university, that they came out saying that we have been taught urban planning completely wrong, and they realized it in the workshop, because they went and interviewed individuals, made collections of the interviews. None of this because some of you in the audience have seen the Citysets exhibition in Paris, so none of those first year videos where the architects were doing were not shown there. But it was truly that they realized that the city is about people and not about architecture, like you said actually. That it's about visual culture, it is about my place in it. So I think that those urban planners will be very different in future because of that. Also Marja's video on Satoko Hinomichu and Hyun Lee, this end. I think it was also the observation that what is design, the nature and what is happening and how do we deliver it. It all came in the essay writing that they,
yes.
How do you create the ecology of the city and how you give a space to the nature and the other individuals. So I think these observations kind of generate from it rather than that we actively ask them.
And I think all design is placed into some context, and when designers, we too seldom think about that where this is going to be, who is going to read it. I mean, this, and this was my already then in this city museum experience, that how does people design their places, and how does a certain city area design the place, and even if there's the architects first, but what people then do in the city, or what Helsinki allows to be exhibited, and what is allowed in some other cities. And this is, I think, when talking about city planning, it's very often forgotten, or then when the place is ready, it lives its life with the rules that are given. But it's mainly only when there's bad traffic problems that then they start thinking that what to do. But otherwise, that how, yeah. So I think this observation and this kind of thinking came there in the workshops.
You, yeah?
I was just wondering, after watching the first presenter and some of your work, and I was wondering, the question I actually wanted to ask is whether people haven't just started feeling sort of like kind of lost and disoriented living in cities, because earlier on we find that when people, for example, maybe work with graffiti or leave video clips on YouTube or whatever, it's as if they're trying to say that I am here. What are your thoughts on this?
That I, what people were thinking, did I?
No, because the thing is, for example, yeah, sorry, what I was trying to say is that because I saw the lady's first videos where she had some subjects, and they were talking about why they make these archives of things, and also the way oh, sorry, I'm becoming lost again. No, what I was trying to say is that because I was just wondering whether human beings are not beginning to feel lost because they have to leave like traces of themselves online, or
that's a good
Mm.
on buildings.
I think so. That's.
Can I reiterate, because we've talked that yes, that I think that you are talking about how because urban environment is very disoriented, that the first speaker, Michelle was it? Yes, was really also looking at that, how you create personal significance in a disoriented place by shooting it. Is that the question?
It's about, because what happens is that because of the changing nature of the city, things happen a lot, and the involvement of the state in shaping, because the state is generally very involved in most cases in shaping the city. And I was just thinking whether at a subconscious level, maybe there's a small reaction to this sort of state-designed thing of people to try and say that, oh, I exist, I'm here, I'm human, I'm an individual. So they live, they're on signage on YouTube or graffiti, to show that they actually exist at a subconscious level.
Yes, I think that's true, that, and also very consciously also, that people living in certain place and it's changing, and they are not able to influence it very much, but they can take pictures, they can send it in YouTube, that's how it was. And I think these histories, I think it was very interesting also, this private archives, that it's possible to make, that people are interested so much about in this, and also making your sign in the city that we also are living here. I think that's very human.